Welcome back to my channel, students. In this session, I will be discussing about transpiration and mechanism of stomatal opening and closing. And towards the end of the session, I will be discussing the objective questions which we can expect from this topic. So, I request you to watch the video till the end so that you will be able to understand and see all the objective questions which are required. And if you are watching for the first time, please subscribe my channel so that you will be getting notifications for all the future videos. Now, let's get into the topic. What is transpiration? First, we can start with what is the definition of transpiration. Transpiration is defined as the loss of water through aerial parts of the plant in the form of vapor. So, what are the aerial parts? It can be lost from stem as well as from leaves. If it is lost from leaves, it is called as a foliar transpiration. And if it is lost from stem, it is called as a cuticular transpiration. Cuticular. And here this is called as a foliar transpiration through leaves. Most of the transpiration is through leaves. Then the structure which helps in transpiration, it is the stomata. Stomata is present in the form of stomatal apparatus. In the form of stomatal apparatus. So in stomatal apparatus, we find two guard cells are present which are closely associated. Two guard cells are present and these guard cells are surrounded by subsidiary cells. These are called as a subsidiary cells, or they are also called accessory cells. And the three important factors which play a role in opening and closing of stomata or movement of stomata. First important factor is differential thickening. Differential thickening is the guard cells, the inner wall of guard cells, it is thick and non-elastic. Inner wall is thick and non-elastic, and the outer wall is thin and elastic. So, the inner wall, this is the inner wall which is thick and non-elastic. That means it cannot stretch. The outer wall is thin and elastic. This is called as a differential thickening. The second important factor which can help in stomatal opening and closing is the shape of guard cells. Shape of guard cells. Guard cells are normally bean shaped or kidney shaped in case of dicots, and they are dumbbell shaped in monocots. They are dumbbell shaped in case of monocots. So this shape of guard cells can also help in opening and closing of stomata. So third important factor which can help in opening and closing of stomata is the arrangement of cellulose microfibrils. Cellulose microfibrils. These cellulose microfibrils, these are present in cell wall. Normally in any plant cell wall they are present, and in normal way they are arranged parallel to the cell wall, parallel to the axis of cell wall or orientation of cell wall. In normal conditions they are arranged parallel. But in this case, in case of guard cells, the cellulose microfibrils, they are arranged in radial manner. Radial arrangement of cellulose microfibrils. So what is important here is radial arrangement of cellulose microfibrils. All these three factors, they play a very important role during opening and closing of stomata. Now, how exactly the process takes place, opening or closing, how exactly the process takes place is, or how do the shape help in. The second important factor we observed is the shape of the guard cells. So how the shape of guard cells can help. So suppose these are the two guard cells and arranged. The inner wall of guard cells is very thick. Inner wall is thick and outer wall is thin. So when guard cells become turgid, turgid condition is when they absorb water. That is called as a turgid condition. So when guard cells become turgid, opening takes place. They open. So when they open, how do they open? In turgid guard cells, I told you, the outer walls are thin and elastic. So first they stretch outwards. Outer walls are thin and elastic. So first they stretch outwards. That causes the stretching of inner wall also towards outside. And that causes the opening of stomata. Now, flaccid, when guard cells become flaccid, that causes closure of stomata. When guard cells become flaccid, that causes closure of stomata. So, reverse changes will take place during closure of stomata. That is, the inner wall will come to its original position, causing the outer wall and inner wall, both they come to their original positions. That is during flaccid condition. That is resulting in closure of stomata. So, this turgidity and flaccidity is due to changes in solutes within the guard cells. So, there are different mechanisms explained what is the reason for turgidity or flaccidity, which finally results in opening and closing. So, most important mechanism we will discuss now, that is called as a potassium pump theory. It is called as potassium pump theory, which was proposed by Leavitt. Potassium pump theory. This theory was proposed by Leavitt. Leavitt proposed the theory called potassium pump theory. So this theory, it is applicable to photoactive stomata. It is applicable to photoactive stomata. Photoactive stomata are those which open during daytime. And there are some stomata which open during night time in some plants. Such stomata, these are called as scotoactive stomata. So there are two types, photoactive and scotoactive. Photoactive are those which open during daytime and scotoactive are those which open during night time. Like we find scotoactive in succulents. Succulents are, a type of xerophytes. Now let us see what are the changes during opening and closing in case of photoactive stomata. So first we will see during opening what happens. What are the changes during opening? And then we will see during closure. So during opening of stomata, first thing, what is requirement? That is, it takes place during daytime. It takes place during daytime. So what happens during daytime? There is influx of potassium ions into guard cells. Influx of potassium ions into guard cells. So guard cells, the potassium ion will enter with simultaneous efflux of protons. Influx of potassium ion, efflux is moving out, influx is entering with simultaneous efflux of protons. Both these are active processes. Both these are active processes. So what happens here? How do we show it diagrammatically? So potassium ion will enter. So this is how it is represented diagrammatically. The entry, active entry is given by a complete line, and this circle which is present, this circle, this indicates a carrier protein. This indicates a carrier protein is required. A carrier protein is required for entry of potassium ion with simultaneous exit of protons, which also requires a carrier protein. These two processes are simultaneous process and they are active process. Active means ATP is required. Now that the potassium ions have entered, next what happens is chloride ions also enter passively. Chloride ions also enter passively. To balance the charge of potassium ion, the chloride ion will enter passively. So this we show by a dotted line that indicates it is a passive entry. And here also a carrier protein is required. A carrier protein is required. So now potassium ion and chloride ion enters. So what is the reason for this movement is, first important thing, the reason is during daytime there is a conversion of starch into malic acid. During daytime what happens is starch will be converted into malic acid. This malic acid which is formed in guard cells, this malic acid, it dissociates to form a malate ion and a proton. The malic acid which is formed in guard cells from starch, this will dissociate and it forms malate ion and proton. So main source of proton here is malic acid which is formed from starch. So during daytime this is the first change which occurs, that is formation of malic acid, and malic acid dissociates to form malate ion and proton. Now the proton is available for exchange with potassium ions. Now these two ions, potassium ion and chloride ion, these are called osmotically active ions. These are called osmotically active ions. That means they increase the concentration in guard cells. They increase concentration in guard cells. So when they increase concentration in guard cells, what happens? When concentration of solute increases, its water potential will decrease. So its water potential will decrease. So when water potential decreases, water enters into guard cells. Water enters into guard cells by endosmosis. That is from surrounding subsidiary cells. All these here surrounding subsidiary cells. So simply water will enter from surrounding subsidiary cells. And that results in, once the water enters into the guard cells by osmosis, then what happens here? The next point, after entry of water, the guard cells become turgid, and this results in opening of stomata. It results in opening of stomata. Opening of stomata. So in this way we find during daytime the stomata open. So briefly, if I have to say once again how during daytime the stomata opens. First, during daytime what happens? We can say starch is converted into malic acid. Malic acid dissociates to form malate ion and proton. This proton is the source for entry of potassium ion. So potassium ion enters, that is influx, exchanging with protons. Both require a carrier protein and they are active processes. So to balance the charges of potassium ion, chloride ion enters passively, and this also requires a carrier protein. Both potassium and chloride ion are osmotically active substances. They increase the concentration within the guard cells. So once the concentration increases, the water potential will decrease. Water potential, once it decreases, water enters into guard cells from surrounding subsidiary cells by osmosis, and that results in turgidity of guard cells, resulting in opening of stomata. So here the phytohormone cytokinin also helps here. This cytokinin, it increase permeability. Of guard cells for potassium ion. Cytokinins will help in increasing permeability of guard cells for potassium ion. So these are the changes during opening. Now let us see what are all the changes during closure of stomata. What happens during closure of stomata? During closure of stomata, let us see what are all the changes which take place during closure of stomata. Closure. First thing we can say, it takes place during night time. Night time, what happens is, there is no conversion of starch to malic acid. So there is no conversion of starch to malic acid. So there is no source of protons. Protons are not available. So whatever ions are present, they, like potassium ion or chloride ion, they move out of guard cells. Passively. So whatever potassium ions are present, they simply move out of guard cells. This also requires a carrier protein. Similarly, chloride ions also move out of guard cells, which require a carrier protein. And the proton, it enters into guard cells. This is also a passive movement. Entry of proton also is a passive movement. So all movements during closure, these are the passive movements. Now what happens once all these ions are moving out? What happens is, the concentration in guard cells will decrease. So when concentration decreases, its water potential will increase. When concentration decreases, its water potential will increase. So if water potential increases in the guard cells, then what happens? Exosmosis will take place. That means guard cells will lose water. Guard cells will start losing water, and that results in closure of stomata. So when guard cells lose water, finally what happens? Finally, closure of stomata takes place. Here, the phytohormone abscisic acid, which is normally we write it as ABA. Abscisic acid is involved in closure of stomata. So these are all the changes which take place during closure of stomata. Now in the last part of it, I would like to summarize what is the difference between opening and closing. How do we compare at one place? How can we compare both? Let us compare what are all the changes during opening and closing. This particular table will help you to solve or to answer any objective questions. So let us compare what are all the changes during this. So opening of stomata and closure of stomata. So first thing we would say, it takes place during daytime. Here it takes place during night time. Takes place during night time. Then next what we can say, here there is influx of potassium ion and chloride ion and efflux of protons. So here what do we say? It is the opposite, efflux of potassium ion and chloride ion and influx of protons. And here there is a dissociation, conversion of starch to malic acid. This is present, and here there is no conversion of starch to malic acid. There is no conversion. Then next we can take here, since there is an entry of potassium and chloride ion, we can say concentration in guard cells. Concentration in guard cells increase. Concentration in guard cells increase, and here the concentration decrease. This we are doing with respect to guard cells. So once the concentration in guard cells increase, water potential will decrease. And here in guard cells, water potential will increase. And because water potential decrease, here endosmosis will take place. Endosmosis. And here exosmosis will take place. Exosmosis will take place. Then pH. With respect to pH, if we take, here there is an efflux of protons. That means protons are moving out. So when protons are moving out, what happens? Hydrogen ion concentration is decreasing in the guard cells. So pH value will increase here. pH increase means it becomes more basic. And here pH value will decrease. So it becomes more acidic during closure. Now, lastly, the phytohormone which helps in opening is cytokinin, and here the phytohormone which helps in closure is called as abscisic acid. So these are all the comparison. These comparative points mainly will help you to answer many objective questions. So carefully you must read that, children, go through it, note it down, understand what is the mechanism. Towards the end, this is very, very important. I hope all of you have watched till the end, so that in the end when I give such comparative tables or any objective questions, it will be very, very useful to you. So here I conclude this session, this topic. Thank you very much, children. So next session I will be continuing with the one more topic in this lesson, that is uptake and translocation of mineral ions. Till then, keep doing well, study well. Have a good day, children. Thank you very much.